All right, you guys, welcome to another episode on Faithfully Fit Motherhood. So happy you're here. Today, we are talking about social media and how it affects our health, specifically our mental health. I actually had done this as a poll on my Instagram stories to see if people were interested in hearing about this topic, and I had a resounding yes. So I wanted to have a conversation about it, and I want to talk about how I believe we can antidote the feelings that we feel about it because it can get easy to get trapped into those. So, if you do follow me on Instagram, you know that I took about a week and a half off of posting consistently on my Instagram just to take a step back and really reflect and see how it's affecting my health and see how I can really approach it in a really good way, because I will be honest with you and transparent that it was catching up to me. It was becoming something that I would dread instead of something that I was having fun with and enjoying. And I wanted to know if I could really reverse that and see it differently and why I was feeling those things. And I came down to a few conclusions. And I realized that a lot of it had come down to the trap of comparison and judgment on social media and how paralyzing it can be. Now, that just makes social media sound super bad. And I don't want to say that that's the only part about social media. It's not all bad. A lot of social media is inspiring, life-giving, so good. You meet people, or you're inspired by people that you may never meet actually in person. And that is the beauty of social media, is seeing outside of your scope or your environment. But the not so good thing is you are seeing, um, I want to say, the highlight reel of a lot of people's lives. And that doesn't mean, I also believe in vulnerability and being as transparent as possible on social media. But the truth be told is you will never truly see somebody's life based on social media. And that just is a recipe for comparison, because we think that somebody else's life is perfect and we look at ours and we're like, what's wrong with us? Why isn't our life like this? It's just not true. And no matter how much we share on there, you'll just never see everything. And I think that we should be okay with that. I think we should come to terms with the fact that's a good thing, because we should respect others' privacy. I know even within the realm of real life, within your immediate environment, there are just some things that people don't know. And I think that's okay. I think that we should respect each other's privacy, because there are a lot of things that are personal, and those are things that we want to share with the Lord or with our families or with our spouses. And it's for lack of better words, it's nobody else's business. Sounds harsh, but it's true. So I really think that that is a really huge thing to focus on when we're scrolling through, when we're consuming content, because it does consume us. Think about how accessible it is. We are so easily drawn to our phones, to our computers, to the news. And when we're consuming that, our brains are on autopilot. And it's so important to take that step back and think, how am I looking at this? And really, filter it and pay attention, because when we're not aware of something, there's no way that we can really change it. So become aware of how you're feeling after you go on social media. Are you filled with bad feelings? Are you filled with anger and jealousy and comparison? Or are you filled with, like inspiration and feeling good about it? And I encourage you, if this is something that's been on your mind, take a break from social media and just run these thoughts through your head, and take that time for yourself so that you can come back to it, if you want to even come back to it, with a different and new perspective. And it's not that it's going to be completely cured and you're just going to feel that way all the time. There are still going to be days where you're like, ugh, ugh. But I do believe you'll have a renewed sense of enjoyment with it, especially for my online business owners. If there's anyone listening that is a fellow business owner online, I commend you. It is not easy. And I would love to know who you are, what your business is. Tag me on social media. I would love to know. But I have realized for us online business owners that at some point we need to decide that the feelings of judgment and comparison are not going to run our lives forever. Because if we let them control our lives, we are not going to have an online business for long. And that's the point that I got at that week I took off. I was at that point where it's like, I am so ready to cut the cord because it snowballs. And I am not one who likes to give up. I don't like to give up. So the fact I was struggling with that thought made me mad. It forced me to think about these things. And I realized that in order for me to continue, I need to accept that not everyone's going to like me. Not everyone's going to agree with what I have to say, and just get so grounded and rooted in who I am. And instead of making decisions based on, those feelings of feeling, I'm feeling judged, or I'm feeling not enough or ill-equipped, instead of making decisions based on those, I told myself that I really need to focus on making decisions based on outcomes. So I need to have a driving force. I need to know what my purpose and my mission is, and I need to remind myself of that daily, because if I don't, it's going to wreck me. And also getting so grounded and rooted in who I am in Christ. The fact that nothing anyone says or does can change that. And that's powerful. That is powerful. Once we realize that nobody has any effect whatsoever on our worth as an individual, you feel so free. And again, this is something that you will struggle with continually. It's not a decision you make and it's just smooth sailing. It's a decision you make on a daily basis, that you're going to wake up and you're going to decide, okay, today I know that I am loved and I am worthy of love because of my Creator and because He made me. That is something you're going to have to do on a daily basis and remind yourself of on a daily basis. I have a quote by C.S. Lewis that I love in this regard, and it is, life with God is not immunity from difficulties, but peace in difficulties. So by that, I mean, we are not going to, it's just impossible to live life and not be either offended or hurt or betrayed. We are human and we live amongst humans. So it's just impossible. So we have to learn how to approach it, and we need to become partners with Christ so that we know we can face whatever comes at us. Something I also heard from a famous speaker, Christine Kane. I highly recommend you searching her up. She's awesome. She said that we need to come to terms with the fact that all of us will be offended at some point and we will feel hurt. It's just a fact of life, even without the internet. I don't know if there was ever a time in my life where everyone loved me and it was just awesome. It's just not a thing. So I really don't think we should expect that on the online space either. And I just think it's the nature of humanity. So once we accept that fact, I think we will know it's just part of the process and we will be able to move through it instead of sitting in that pit, because it's so easy to sit in that pit and have a pity party, And I want to share a verse with you a verse from the Bible that talks about building your house on solid ground, building your house on a rock. And this explains so well how partnering with Christ will build you on that rock so that everyone could literally come against you and you would still be standing because of the power that Christ has. So I want to share it with you. It's Matthew chapter 7, 24 to 27. Everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, but it did not fall, because it had been founded on the rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. I love that. I love that verse. When we choose to build upon his foundations, come at us. Come at us. Nobody can hurt us. Nobody can bring us down. Nobody can make us fall because we are so rooted in him. So I believe that is the antidote to really overcoming the things that come at us in social media. So a few of the key takeaways from this is I want you to always remember that you don't know the whole story. As consumers, when you are consuming the content, just try to remember that some things in those people's lives will just remain private. And what they're sharing is, a lot of it is that highlight, but you'll never know all of it. So don't think that your life just doesn't compare, because it's not the truth. And don't forget to pay attention and to count your blessings and to have that gratitude for what you have, because we always have things to be thankful for. Number 2 is, if you notice yourself feeling bad after using it and consuming it, take a break, come back to it, really think about it, and really analyze and become aware. Because like I said, if we're not aware of something, how can you change it? And number 3, getting rooted and grounded so much into God and faith and into the Bible and his word and into our worth and value as a human being, as a child of God. Get rooted, because you will not fall. Well, that was an intense episode. I really do hope that it helped you and it gave you some value. As always, my intention here is to help you, and I never want to say anything that would hurt someone, but I got to give you some tough love and some truth, because that is the only way we can truly prosper, is when we know truth. So, hope that this helped you guys, and I really look forward to the next episode. Until next time.